Hi and welcome to LearnCity. My name is Grace and I'll be your mathematics tutor. And today we'll be talking about change of subject or formulae. Now, basically, what is change of subject or formulae? It doesn't really have a definition, but it is very important to know about change of subject or formulae in mathematics. Why? Change of subject or formulae is very important when solving questions in mathematics, in knowing how to place your numbers well. Now today, we'll basically be talking about the rules to follow when solving questions in change of subject or formulae. Now, our first rule is you begin by clearing fractions, brackets, and root signs. Like I said, we begin by clearing fractions, brackets, and root signs. Now, take for instance, when we are to clear fractions, brackets, and root signs, how do we start? For example, if we have x over 2, which is equal to 5, we have to look for means in which we have to remove this fraction part so we can find x. Now, this case will be x, which is equals to 10, in which we'll cross multiply. So that is the first rule for changing of subject or formulae. We begin by clearing fractions, brackets, and root signs. Now, the second rule, you rearrange the formula so that all the terms that contain the new subject are on one side, then the other are on the other side. What do I mean by that? Now, for example, if we have a case of x plus 2, which is equal to 5. Now, we have to look for x. Make x the subject of the formula. We have x, we have 2, and we have 5. Now, x is not the same thing as 2, and x is not the same thing as 5. Whereas 5 is the same thing as 2. Why? Because they are whole numbers. Now, we'll bring 2 to the other side of 5, which in turn gives us x, which is equals to 5 minus 2, and x is equals to 3. Now, you rearrange the formula so that all the terms that contain the new subjects are on one side of the equal signs and the rest are on the other side. We place it like that to make our work much more easier for us to get. Now, the third rule, if more than one term contains the subject, you take it outside the bracket. That is, you factorize. If more than one term contains the subject, you take it outside the bracket. Now, in this case, if we have x plus 2 into bracket 5 is equals to 2y. That is our example. And make x the subject of the formula. How do we do that? You factorize it in such a way that you multiply 5 by what is inside the bracket. So which is 5x plus 10, which is equals to 2y. So if more than one term contains the subject, you take it outside a bracket. Now, another case we can have is when we have 2x plus 2x, which is equals to 2y. Now, in this case, we can basically write it as 4x, which is equals to 2y. Or we can write it as 2 plus 2, all in brackets, x, which is equals to 2y. So if more than one term contains the subject, you take it outside in the bracket such that your letter that you are looking for, or the number, will be separate, then the other numbers will be separate. And the last rule, we divide both sides by the brackets, then simplify as far as possible. basically what I've been saying is not clear, right? I understand. Now let's do an example to make it much more understandable. Then we show us how these rules are being followed. Now, when we have 1 minus j over 1 minus r is equals to s. Now, make j the subject of the formula. Now, we have 1 minus j over 1 minus r, which is equals to s. Then make j the subject of the formula. Then we have it to be 1 minus j over 1 minus r, which is equals to s. Then, in this case, this s can also be written as s over 1, then cross multiply. So we have it to be 1 minus j, which is equals to s into bracket 1 minus r. So in this case, we have to look for j, but we are still having 1 as an entity which is blocking j. So what do? We bring 1 to the other side, then we make j a subject of the formula in which it stands on one side, then the other number will stand on the other side. Now, we have it to be minus j is equals to s into brackets 1 minus r minus 1. This is in brackets. Then this minus j is here. We cannot leave it as minus j. Why? Because we are not to make minus j the subject of the formula. We have to make j the subject of the formula. We have it to be j is equals to minus, or brackets open, s into brackets 1 minus r brackets close minus 1. So we are basically multiplying minus by everything to make j a subject of the formula. So basically, the first thing we did was we removed the fractional parts that was there. Then we tried to place one subject to the other parts that are of the same thing to pick out our number that we are looking for, or the particular letter that we are looking for. Then we factorize, or we possibly simplify to the lowest form as possible. So basically, for this question, 1 minus j over 1 minus r, which is equals to s, making j the subject of the formula, our answer is j, which is equals to minus bracket open s into brackets 1 minus r brackets close minus 1. Then to simplify further, we can have it as j, which is equals to minus s. Then we multiply s minus x into brackets 1 minus r. That is s minus sr minus 1. So we can basically have this as j, which is equals to minus s plus sr minus 1. So this is our answer. So today we talked about rules of changing of subject or formulae, and we basically talked about one example to explain how the rules are to be followed, what to do, the steps to take. So our next class will be taking more examples on change of subject or formulae to give us more explanation on how our letters are meant to be, or how our numbers are meant to be. So till next class when we'll continue. Do have a lovely day. Thank you.